Good evening, folks. You join me in my greatly reduced spray booth at the moment. I'm trying to hide the colours of the other panels of my kit cars I do the rebuild. I thought I'd bit of an update video to let you know how I'm getting on. Just a little bit of next phase of the projects I'm doing. At the moment the chassis has been sprayed up. I've put on stuff that I can already. It's covered up outside and I put some of the panels on. As you may be aware, I built the spray booth quite a few months ago now to try and start doing the chassis and the panels. Well, the panels have been progressing, so the alley panels and most of the other panels are all sprayed up now. The stage I'm at is, this is the much seen passenger side rear arch. It's got it's a slightly lighter blue than the previous one that I had on the car before. I'm just using that as an example of where I'm at the moment, just to show you what I'm presently doing. So after the paint's been dry for a while, and with the lacquer as well, I've decided I obviously need to get rid of some of the orange peel on the panels. So what I've been doing over the last sort of few weeks is going around and using the polishing machine to take the orange peel off. Done all that, sort of demonstrated it before. I had to respray this arc because I had a bit of a nick where an edge got caught on the buffer and sort of literally took a nick out. So you might remember seeing that before. So only I decided to repaint the whole panel in the end because the repair I tried just didn't work. So after doing all the buffing, which I finished off doing earlier on, I want to have a go at trying to put some of the clear coating on the panel that I've previously had on some parts of my arches before, and I know some other people have tried in the past. I've already done this on the side panels that are fitted to the car, but obviously just wanted to sort of bring you along for the ride, see you, sort of show you how it goes on. Another bit of another new sort of learning curve for me really, so I'm having sort of moderate success with it at the moment. So clearly this is where the old stone guard used to be. Half the height, and it's obviously where the new one's going to go. The new one's ready to go on there, which you've got the powder coated sort of stone chip black effect. So I'm quite excited to see how it looks on once it all gets bolted on. So I decided to go for a protective clear coating, such as the ones you might have seen in other sort of high cost cars. Obviously I'm going for the cheap DIY option as always. So with the use of lovely eBay as usual, I ordered up some sheeting, ordered up far too much of it. I've had a go at using it already just to try it out, as I mentioned earlier on. So this is the also the much seen test bit of alley that I use to sort of try and, or still actually I used to try and sort out some of my paint ratio issues. So I wanted to go at putting a sheet of it on here, as you can see. Clearly there's lots of runs in this already. I just wanted to sort of try it all out, see how easy it was to get all the bubbles out of it. The actual stuff I've gone for, so what a massive roll of it, is actually a 3-ply stuff. So what would be quite hard to do is single-handedly, but in theory, you've got this sheet at the back here that you take off, which obviously exposes the sticky bit underneath. Then behind it, when you're all done, you actually take off a third piece, which you can just see me rolling back with my thumb there, which effectively gives you the sort of last covering. Obviously just the middle piece stays. So what I've done so far on the side panels is I've fitted that on, and I've left the outer coating on for now whilst I still move around the car. And then I'm only taking it off as I'm fitting stuff where clearly it needs to be removed first of all. So hopefully, after buffing this all up as I've done earlier on, it's sort of ready to go. I'll probably actually shoot the rest of the video tomorrow, just to see how it goes on. I know that when I did the side panels, each of those took me well over 2 hours to do, and I still end up with some bubbles in them. So I'm still going to see how I get on with the actual arch later on, probably tomorrow. What I did do as part of what I bought, I obviously bought some rubbing compound, which we used to sort of clean the panel down. Watched a few tutorials. I had to do this sort of stuff to learn a little bit more about it. And obviously just a couple of squeegees with some more covers for them, and obviously various cutting implements to try and cut it all. Unfortunately, because it's a clear sheeting, unlike some people that do just normal covering of cars, coloured ones, because it's a clear, and being such a mucky git, it really does catch everyone's fingerprints and stuff as you're trying to use it. So you've got to be really careful the bits you can hold on to as you're exposing the adhesive, obviously, because you don't want that sort of stuff showing up on your lovely panel. Earlier on, and also yesterday when I was actually cutting this back, I've cheated a little bit and sort of paid the price. Previously on the aluminium panels, I've actually used wet and dry on a block, nice and flat, to actually cut it back, because I sort of knew this was going to be covered up, and therefore the shine, anything I create in it now, will probably be masked to a certain degree by the clear covering. I decided to actually use an orbital DA basically on this with a foam pad. So although I've got a reasonable amount of sort of reflection, it's pretty good. It's not as sharp in some of the edges as you like it to be. So if it's stood back, you can still sort of pick out it's got a little bits of orange paint on it. But again, if I really wanted to, I could have another go with some wet and dry and a proper flat block and get that out and then buff it up again. But so it's not going to be fantastic anyway underneath the clear coating. So it sort of saves me a few hours work. But just to actually go over that with the buffer, the various degrees of polishing compounds and buffers took me the best part of sort of 2.5 hours. And obviously adding on another couple of hours doing the wet and dry, and I thought I'd save myself a bit of time. Obviously didn't go as mad in this area because that would end up being covered up anyway. But I'm reasonably happy with the sort of quality that I've got at the moment of this one. I had a little bit of an issue with, again, hitting it with a sander. I just took a little piece of paint off of here. It's right deep down behind the light, so I had just done a bit of a touch up with some of the same blue paint on a brush and a little bit of lacquer, and it buffed it up as well. There will be a bit of piping on the side here against the side panel, so you'll probably see nothing at all of it. In fact, I'll probably struggle to even see it myself where it is, but it's around this area here. So I'm pretty happy. I mean, look at that. I mean, if the whole car comes out as nice as that, I'll be pretty happy. Right, so I'm going to go have some lunch tea, load this up on the old Tinternet, and hopefully you can join me tomorrow. Obviously I've got the stuff on a nice big sheet of roll, so I'm going to try and lay it probably around the edge there and stretch it, use a bit of heat to try and actually wrap it right underneath the arch if I can and get a nice seal on it, and hopefully protection over the whole lot. Previously I sort of did it just above where the stone guard was, and you could definitely see that where this coating was on here, it was definitely helping to keep the quality of the paint okay. Obviously it's not as shiny, but you don't end up obviously with stones hitting the arch as much as you would do normally. I like having a short set of front arches. I don't really like having the extended mud guards. So that's the sort of look I do like, but obviously you pay the price. So that's the reason why I've done the side panel that goes on here, because that's the area that tends to get hit, as well as up to about halfway on the arch. So hopefully join tomorrow, and I'll try and set the iPad up and try and get some images of maybe on time lapse of how I go about sort of putting it on. So see you tomorrow.